I know, Andy, at WPI, right? Project-based experience is very important, right? At a number
Yes.
of institutions, undergraduate research like you do there is very important, right? Like, why can't we get all the that may be interesting to a lot of students. So why can't all the institutions that do similar things that you do get together and say, okay, here's what we think is the value of project-based and undergraduate research, or whatever it might be, whatever the thing is. And then students can start to make differentiations between the institutions once they're at that level. But what ends up happening is, if we're at the 50,000 foot level, students dive down to 250 feet immediately and say, okay, I'm going to go to WPI in your example, right? Rather than stay at that 50,000 foot level for a little bit longer in a college search and say, what am I really trying to get out of this? And then taking that deeper dive on a smaller set of schools. Because otherwise, it makes I think, the process way too difficult for students and parents, because they're trying to make this differentiation between schools before they really know what they're looking for.
So it's an interesting point, Jeff. And I think, my guess would be that part of the reason you don't see more of that is because there is a fear of not being distinguished enough and not being distinct enough to stand out in a crowd. And so I think we have a lot of colleges who continue to try to add majors, to try to be more comprehensive at a time when I think there is an argument to be made for being more focused in your approach, being more specific about who you are, who you serve, and what you aren't. And so I think being at a place like WPI, I benefit from a lot of specificity. And I think we've seen through a group called Cache, which is a collection of STEM universities, we've seen, at least engaging with school counselors, there's been an extreme demand, as you point out, because it helps them provide a group of schools to students to consider. These are schools that do this type of education well. They each do it differently. They each have their own distinct flavor or approach. And so I think that is an interesting commentary on sort of how colleges could cooperate while also competing for students. Enjoying the podcast? Like and subscribe to this YouTube video. You can also find us on the web at InsideAdmissionPodcast.com, and you can find and engage with us on social media, where our handle is Inside Admission on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook.